purchase my home, saving it from destruction. Presently, the Great Barrington Historical Society is renovating and repairing my former home to become an educational center and museum for our town of Great Barrington. And a very happy birthday to my Great Barrington.
Though our next guest had a bit of a rough start to life in the Berkshires, she managed to carve out a contribution to both our area and the country. She tells it all best. Here is Mabel.
I was a force to reckon with in the home and in the court. Although I was born a slave, I was not timid and could only take so much cruelty from Colonel Ashley's wife. So when she was about to beat my sister Lizzie with that shovel from the fireplace, I'd had enough. I stopped her, but received the blows that were meant for Lizzie. They left me with a permanent scar on my face and the determination to win my freedom. You see, I could not read or write, but I could listen. I heard those men who came to talk to Colonel Ashley about a Bill of Rights and a state constitution, and I knew that that freedom meant me too. After that Mrs. Ashley beat me, I left that house and swore that I would never return. Now, Colonel Ashley, though a kindly man, went to the courts to get me back. But I was not going back. I went to Theodore Sedgwick, the anti-slavery man from Stockbridge, and he agreed to help me win my freedom. Me and another slave with the Ashleys, Brahm. And you know what? The court agreed with me and Brahm. They set us free. We were the first African Americans in history to be freed under the Massachusetts Constitution of 1780. Not only that, but the court also made Colonel Ashley pay us each 30 shillings and the fees for the lawyer. My case, you hear me, my case, was what started the abolition of slavery in Massachusetts. Now, Colonel Ashley wanted me to come back and work for him, but I was going to have nothing to do with that. I went to work for the Sedgwicks as a housekeeper and spent many happy years with them. I made a life for myself, not only as a housekeeper, but also as a midwife and nurse. I also changed my name to Elizabeth Freeman, and the Freeman Center in Pittsfield is named in my honor. When I died, my children and grandchildren were by my side. I'm proud to say that my legacy continued in this area. You can still come and visit me where I'm buried in Stockbridge Cemetery. I'm buried along with the Sedgwicks in their famous Sedgwick pie.
You can't be a beacon if your light don't shine. You can't be a beacon if your light don't shine. How can you ask for truth when you don't truthfully live? How can you ask forgiveness when you don't forgive?
I see that W.E.B. Du Bois is anxiously awaiting his turn. Mr. Du Bois?
My name is William Edward Burghardt Du Bois, or as I am more commonly known as, W.E.B. Du Bois. Thank you for having me here tonight, since the 250th anniversary of Great Barrington is so very special to me, as I will explain. I was born here on February 23rd in 1868 in a small house located where the Jane Iredale Mineral Cosmetic Building parking lot is located, just north of the Bryant School. At a very early age, my father left our family and was never seen again. We had to live with my grandfather. His name was Othello, and he lived on a farm. When he was 72 years old, he passed away. So we moved back to the center of Great Barrington. My mother felt very strongly that I needed to receive an education to succeed in the world of my time. The Great Barrington primary and high schools were very convenient to walk to and are located on what is now the Searles Castle property. I graduated in 1884 with the graduation ceremonies being held on the top floor of the town hall, which still stands today. I could not afford to go to college, so 4 congregational churches, including the one right here in Great Barrington, pledged to me funds for 4 years so that I could attend Fisk University, an all-black school in Nashville, Tennessee. After graduation, I continued my education to go on to become the first black person to ever receive a PhD from Harvard. I was to spend the rest of teacher, writer, and civil rights advocate, fighting for the rights of all African American citizens. I even became an early environmentalist. I became a founder of the NAACP and was the editor of their magazine, Crisis. One of my proudest and most important contributions to the literature of this nation was a book I wrote called The Souls of Black Folks, which I am holding. It has held so much interest that even over 100 years later, it is still being read and published. My first wife and 2 children are buried here in the Mahawi Cemetery. I had always hoped to retire here and be buried along with my family. Unfortunately, this never happened. I always had the fondest memories of growing up here in Great Barrington. I had always felt very respected by both the black and white communities. It was not until I had left Great Barrington that I felt extensive prejudice because of my race. I always looked forward to visiting Great Barrington and being asked to speak to multiple groups of people, such as the Great Barrington High School alumnus and the Clinton AME Zion Church. When I was 93 years old, I left the United States to live in Ghana. I passed away while living there 2 years later. It says on my burial stone that I am from Great Barrington, Massachusetts of the United States. I am very proud of this. With all this in mind, and with very fond memories of my Great Barrington, I sincerely wish Great Barrington a very happy 250th birthday.
Our next guest will always light up your life, but I promise his story won't shock you. Ladies and gentlemen,
My name is William Stanley. I'm considered to be a genius in electronics. During the 1880s and in March of 1886, I successfully demonstrated the use of all AC or alternating current electricity power. We all use AC electric power, and by all I mean the entire world. Also, speaking of the entire world, because of me, Great Barrington became the first community in the whole world to use AC electric power. I also invented a thermos bottle. This is a Stanley thermos bottle which was first manufactured in Great Barrington, where my factory buildings on River Street. This Stanley bottle is still being made, but not in Great Barrington.
Mr. Stanley, if I may, I have a question. Your bottle knows how to keep hot liquids hot and cold liquids cold. But how does it know to do this? Just a joke, Mr. Stanley, just a joke. I see Lucy Avery is ready to present herself. Her grandson is known all over the world.
Good evening. I bet most of you here have never heard of me, but you all know my world-famous grandson. He would grow up to be one of the most famous names in the world. Let's see who'll be the first person to guess his name. My name is Lucy Avery, and I was born in Great Barrington in 1786. In 1839, my grandson was born in New York State. After the Civil War, he became the founder of the Standard Oil Company. Who can name my grandson? Yes, you are very correct. My grandson is John D. Rockefeller. I married Godfrey Rockefeller in 1806. We farm land here off Monument Valley Road, not too far from where the Moneybrook and Monument schools are located. By the way, a very short street is named after my family. It's called Avery Lane. It's next to the great bridge colored brown off the State Road. And may I wish Great Barrington a very happy birthday.
Despite having first and even a last, Great Barrington also has an oldest, as will be seen next. How many times while driving down Route 23 do we see this newsboy statue trying to sell us newspapers? Maybe we can get this newsboy statue to tell us a little bit about himself. Statue, please enter.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Boy, what a treat! This is the first time I've spoken to anyone in 116 years. When I was built in 1895, Great Barrington was only 134 years old. Wow, many years have passed by me since then. And now my hometown is celebrating its 250th birthday. I was built by Colonel William Lee Brown, who's the editor of the first New York Daily News. Colonel Brown had a home here in Great Barrington and wanted to honor the newsboys of America, so he built me to do that. In fact, I'm therefore the oldest standing newsboy statue in America. I'm also unusual in that I have 4 drinking spots you and your pets can drink from. I have one for people, horses, dogs, and cats. I get lonely standing out here. How about coming and visiting me sometimes? And maybe I'll tell you my secret of how I haven't aged in 116 years.